And we are back for episode 9 of Peaker's Advantage. We are joined by Witmer. I don't have a webcam this time. We've tried for the last hour to get it working, and I can't get it working, so we just decided we're going to record this one without it, and I'll get it fixed for the next episode. So, Witmer, welcome to the show. Do you have anything you want to say to get it started?
I just want everyone to know that everything I say is objection. It's like objective fact, okay? I'm always right, okay?
A lot of people are going to be called out on this podcast.
I'm dropping names, like.
Okay.
Where do you want to start?
I'm down. Well, first let's start with Daps. Talk us through IEM Shanghai. Let's start off with the groups. Since this is your first big event that you won, I think.
I'm down to just like call people out first, like get it a bit spiced, and then go into that.
All right, Whitmer, let's talk about Philadelphia and some 60 DAR MDO players.
Hey man. Okay, so let's talk about it. Nah, I was just so I was at a.
All right, wait. I'll give you a better question. You know, so you have more of like a so it's not too broad.
Okay.
Who impressed you the most at Philadelphia, and who was like a letdown?
Okay, so oh man, all right.
On your team? No, I'm just kidding.
It could be on your team too, honestly.
Like you mean like overall for the whole entire land?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think a team that was just a whole team that was actually really impressive was this main team called Intact. They're like undefeated in main right now. We played a 5 OT game. Optimus.
I'm looking to make a team, so I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, you want to scout this Optimus kid, dude. Nice. It's like 6'9", like 550. He just dropped like 50 on us in 5 OTs.
Shit. All right.
Okay, fuck that. Fuck good people. Letdowns. All right, so letdowns. So I felt like, whatever. I don't know the guy, but I feel like Tens could have played better. What, dude? You just set me up for failure here. It's not necessarily letdowns. I think a lot of these players are like inexperienced at LAN and stuff, and they're just used to wide swinging online.
Is it just inexperience, you think?
I think it's just bad habits that form from the only environment they play in, which is FPL.
What team was Tens on then? Who was it?
He was on Tens, Food, Som, VSA, and Toy.
How was Food? This guy 1v5s all the time.
Food, okay.
What place did they get?
Below us. I don't remember. I think they got like 7th, 8th or something.
Wait, was that Som's team? That was Som's team.
That was Som's team.
I know.
Was this on HLTV?
No, they got 9th. They got 9th place. I always troll Som about it.
Yeah, they got 9th place. Som actually, we played against them. We beat them 16-13 on train. Som actually played pretty well, all things considered. But I mean, you could just tell like it was things that they picked up from FPL, and then they would try it on LAN, and like you just can't do that. It just doesn't work.
Like what? Like swinging a lot, like wide swing.
Yeah. Like so, Som actually himself had a pretty big round that he threw. So it was on train. He was at upper with a deagle. I was like scouting him upper. It was like post plant. He 1-deagged me, just completely obliterated me. It was cool, nice shot. And then he did like the same thing to 2 people that were like really deep on trains. And so he had like an insane round. He won the round for his team. Exceed was in a 1v4, and then Som just went for the clip. He just wide swung out of upper to kill Jack, who was like front bomb train. Jack killed him and ended up winning the round. And I think we actually won the game off that. And it was just bad habits, I think online Som gets that kill, and that's not me calling Som online. I think it's just the nature of LAN. You just can't swing.
True. So that's it. Tens was the only real letdown for you.
It wasn't even a letdown. Like I didn't even see them play.
He was a letdown.
He was a letdown. This kid's nasty online.
I'm just kidding.
Man.
I'm kidding. But, who else we got?
I mean, fuck. I feel like I'm just attacking this team. I'm just I got kicked from FPL. That's really what it is.
You got kicked from FPL?
Yeah, I got kicked, man.
Why? What'd you do?
I played like 11 games in 6 months.
Oh.
But then Mikey was like telling me, oh, it's a product of not having recent results, and that the players in current FPL have a bunch of recent results. And then I played Som and Tens and Food and all them, like the FPL All Stars the next day, and beat them on LAN. And I said that to him. Yeah, it is what it is. I'm just chippy. They're good players. I'm just chippy.
Well,
wait, who is the best team on your Philadelphia team, or best player? I mean,
yo,
like, who impressed you the most?
My boy Neptune. That kid is a walking highlight reel. I think he's actually really good. I'm excited for him to turn 16 and like actually be able to play MDL.
No, he's got really
good mechanics. Is that the guy that forgot his age?
Yeah. See, I actually talked to him about that.
He's got real good mechanics. I played a little bit with him, like for a few weeks. He's got real good mechanics, but now he's got such a bad rep for himself. Like he really damaged his career big time by doing all that shit.
Well, I asked him about that, and I was like, "Listen, man, there's absolutely no way you didn't know how old you are, right? Like, there's no way. Everyone knows how old they are." And he looked at me, and you know when you just know somebody's not lying, and I could just tell. And he looked at me, he's like, "Bro, I lost a year," and I'm like, "How?" And he was like, "I was grinding really hard," and I'm like, "So you played CS so hard you forgot how old you were?" And he's like, "Yeah," and I believe him.
Fair enough. Fair enough, man.
All right,
He's
dude.
good enough to the point where I believe him. He actually grinded that hard.
Honestly, I forgot I was turning 25
I'm
this
gonna
year.
need at least
Like,
a couple
I
twit
fucking-
longers from him
Couple
before I
twit
believe him.
I'm never gonna believe.
I need a better explanation
Yeah.
than that.
Wait, Davey,
like, just-
didn't Exotic do something shady too? Like, what happened over there at
Well,
Splice?
he just never got a passport. Like
Uh,
he just never got one.
he
It
didn't.
was
He
just-
didn't forget his age though.
No, well, I mean,
nothing
no,
that-
not that I know of.
That could
Not
be the
that-
reason he didn't get a passport. That could have impeded it.
Yeah, I mean, he just never got one. Like when we signed him, Splice told him, like he said he didn't have one, and Splice told him to get one, and then he didn't.
Fuck, I'm gonna turn
And
my
then-
light on. Is that cool?
No.
Surely, right?
Like, no, man, it's not cool if you turn your light on. But yeah, no, we told him to get a passport. He didn't get one, and then we had to go to that like the relegation tournament, and it was like a couple weeks before, and we told him to go get one, and then he kept like he's like, oh, I can just get it expedited. It's fine. I can just get it expedited. And then he went to go do it, and then he comes back, and he's just like, oh. Bro,
It wasn't
they,
expedited.
He was just like, bro, they declined my passport, and I was just like, they don't do that. Like, like it's like a form of government identification.
Sometimes they
Like,
just
like
don't
you
let
don't
people in.
get declined. Like it's like you pay for it and you get it. Like there's like it's.
I mean,
there's-
unless he's not allowed to leave the
So-
country.
so
like,
that's what I
he's
said, I
on
was
some
like-
criminal shit.
right.
like,
So that's what I said to him. Like,
yeah, you-
unless you're a criminal, they don't decline you your passport. And he was like,
You have to be a felon.
no, exactly. And he was just like, no, they just said that like I couldn't expedite it. And I was just like, why? Like,
Damn well, my dude
like
didn't even go to
you're
the office.
like you if you pay like they want
Why?
you to pay extra money. Like that is the point of the expediting it, is so that you give them extra money to do the same thing they're gonna do anyways. Like
Wait, what if he just didn't want to play with you guys?
I don't think. Listen, I can't go into
Not a
no
chance.
I love this.
no, because there's like I really just I think he's
What if
scared
he
of
just
flying. I
secretly
think
like
he's scared of
hated
flying.
you or Corey or something, and you just like,
I don't
was- or
think-
maybe he was scared of Corey, like Corey would
Maybe.
beat him up or
Yeah,
something.
maybe Corey is pretty scary. No, I think he's scared of flying. Like that's just my hunch. I don't think he really wanted to get on a plane that much.
That's a fair
he's
fear.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it is. But you know, you probably shouldn't join a pro
You
team
should
that's
just
gonna go
you
to
should
land.
just say that though,
Yeah.
not like lie about passport.
Well,
feel like that's a
I don't even
standard-
think because then I don't think you I don't know. I don't really know the whole thing. Either way, he ended up not getting a passport, which we were okay with because we got to play with Ricky, who was better anyways. No shit talk to Zodic, but Ricky's just more experienced, better player. He's just really good. As you can see now on Rogue, he's awesome. Good for him. So
Speaking of that, like, who do you guys think is like outside of NRG right now and Liquid, and then we'll leave Cloud9 out of it because they kind of don't really know what their roster is or whatever. But like, outside of those three, who do you get? Like, how would you rank NA right now? I'll start with you, Davey.
Liquid, Energy.
Well,
Oh no, outside of the
outside
like,
of Liquid,
Oh, my bad, I wasn't paying
Cloud9, and
attention.
NRG.
Oh, outside of those three.
Yeah. So like, I guess
Oh.
the next three spots.
Okay, are we
so-
are we going to assume this is on LAN?
No.
Just
Like everything, because
overall?
like a lot of
Just-
games
just-
are played online.
just
so.
overall.
Okay, Rogue. Oh fuck.
What about Cole?
Yeah, no.
So
I know.
So I'll name out some names for you. Like there's United, there's Cole, there's Rogue, there's Luminosity, who I guess we have to
Cole,
mention them,
Rogue,
right?
LG. Cole, Rogue, LG. Next three after that.
You think? Okay.
Or Rogue, Cole, LG. Like
I think
Rogue and
Rogue,
Complexity
Cole,
are
yeah.
like they're to me it's a fucking toss up.
Impact?
You could interswap either one of those. I think.
I mean, for me personally, and I have reasons. I'd put complexity first. Like if Ye does what he did at the minor consistently, I think complexity success is like based off Ye. Like if
Couldn't
Ye runs around and just kills everyone like he did at the minor, then I think they will just like win a lot. But when Ye plays bad, I find there's like a huge drop off in that team. Like
yeah, well, that's just because of the style of play that is. Like, it's just an inconsistent way to rely on success.
But like, let me finish. Like, Shazam's consistent. Like, Shazam pretty much always does well on that team. Stan always does well, pretty much. Brad's been kind of struggling lately, but Brad's usually pretty good. But like, I feel like when Ye just like carries them, it's hard to play against them. Like, our team hates playing Complexity over Rogue, personally. Like, at the whole minor, we were hoping we played Rogue, because I feel like we just match up better for some reason, but
yeah.
I don't know. If I was to rank them, I'd say Complexity's like right under us, and then it would be like Rogue E United. I say E United's better than Luminosity currently.
Would you say it's fair to say like those guys are all like really close to each other to where like you
don't
really
I think it's like I think it's way too close.
Yeah.
Cuz like I guess Complexity did beat Rogue at the minor, but I'm not sure what their head-to-head is. I think Rogue's beat Complexity before. I could be wrong.
Yeah, to me they're both super close. Like, Rogue and Complexity, depending on the day, depending on the environment, depending on, like, they're really close, those two. After that, there's a way bigger drop off.
Or Rogue did beat Complexity at that minor. They both beat each other.
True.
Yeah.
But again, I think that's a Ye thing. Like, Ye played super well at Frag from what I saw. Like, that kid's nuts. Like, he's really good.
So yeah, it definitely can be. It's just like, I
think it's just the type of play though. Like, if you look at the, like, in my opinion, like the best players on Rogue and like how they shine, it's not the same type of play style and how Ye shines. Like, Ye just runs around and kills everyone, and like that's like no shade. Like, that's a good thing, right? Like,
just
when
like
it works, especially.
Overconfidence, like a lot of overconfidence mixed with like really good aim.
And if you look at like Rogue, like to me, I still think Vice is like super insane. I think that guy's like really really good, and he's a player where he kind of reminds me of like. Almost like Crims, you know, where it's like if the action's not coming to him, he could be playing really well, and he's not going to force it the same way.
So I guess the better question then is like, out of the E United, okay, so the teams that are named E United, Cole, and what was it, Rogue?
Rogue.
What are the teams that like, out of those three, which team is like most likely to like have a lower, like they're gonna die soon, if something doesn't happen? You know, like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying those teams are going to die, but like the team that's gonna make the most amount of major changes.
Probably United.
It'd be United.
You think so?
Yeah.
It's just a younger player base.
Yeah.
I guess there's not that many players to get in general, like in NA, but yeah.
I just think LG and Ghost are both probably better.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Ghost. I think Ghost
is good.
Ghost, I think Ghost might even be above United.
I think so too. I think Ghost is above United.
Like actually, Ghost can beat Rogue and Complexity too. Like actually, now I forgot about Ghost. Ghost is like, and they picked up Crystal. Like Crystal's probably better than like majority of.
And they're going to Stockholm, so we'll get to see with how they do there.
Yeah.
No, I forgot about Ghost. Ghost could easily just be like above all of them.
Wait, so who's all
what happens
on Ghost? Is it Crystal or is it Wardell?
Wardell,
right?
So, okay, yeah, okay. When I played against Crystal, he used to alt when he was on alternate.
Do you guys think they eventually get rid of Steel over like a major thing, or you think that's more of an like?
Yeah.
Depends on how they do outside of the major. I think if they have success with Steel, there's no reason to get rid of them.
Yeah.
Like if they like I think Steel
like is a major that big of a
the most valuable player on that team.
I don't think Steel is a long-term thing for them. I think they want to
unless they're doing well at tournaments outside of the major.
But Davey, do you think that's an org side of things, or do you think it's more the players?
Org side of things.
Okay, so the org wants to.
I think go to a major. If I'm their org, and this is pure speculation, obviously I don't have any inside info on the fucking Ghost org, but if I'm their org, you can there were a team who should have got relegated. The only reason they didn't is because another team died. They finished dead last. The only reason they didn't get relegated is because another team died. Then they bring in Steel, and they make their roster changes, and they do all the stuff they're doing, and they're constantly making roster changes. They're constantly trying to get better. They bring in Steel. Now Steel, like Dab said, he's a big name. You can attract players if you're playing with Steel.
It's not that he's a big name. He's the best player on the team. In my opinion.
So just like I was saying, you attract better players by having Steel on the team. Once you get the better players on the team, then you don't need Steel to attract those better players anymore.
While having the major thing hold you back.
And then having the major thing hold you back, then you can Steel can be used to make the team better It's like a win-win. Steel gets to play on a good team, the team gets to get better, and then eventually down the road you can use the improvements of the team to then try to become a major team.
Yeah.
If they find the right replacements, then yeah, that could happen. But like Steel joined Ghost and they qualified for 3 big lands.
Yeah.
So it's like
Listen, I'm not talking shit at
there's
all.
instant No, I'm not saying you are. I'm just saying like I understand what you're saying, but I don't think that would happen for a long time, and it would only happen if like
Basically,
there's a
like it would
huge
make it
drop-off.
wouldn't
No,
really
this is a
make
down
sense.
the road. No, it wouldn't
Yeah.
happen when there's a drop off. It's when the team is getting better and good enough to the point where now we can qualify for majors. You have to start looking at improving the team as a whole.
The reason
Are
I
majors
don't
even
think
worth
that's
it, though? Like,
exactly, like I agree with what Witmer just said, is like like current third-party tournaments are almost better than majors at this point.
I mean,
Like the
not
prestige
for
of majors is
exposure-wise.
lost.
yeah,
A little bit. So
Okay, but major is twice a year, right?
Yeah.
Steel's qualified for 3 events within 2 months that are all like 250K plus, I think. So
yeah,
it's
but,
like
but the viewership a major is going to get versus the viewership one of those is going to get, like the viewing numbers for the major are just so much higher than any of the other events.
yeah, from
it's
an org
true,
standpoint,
but
I
it's
get it.
still
But
a
as
what
far as
if
the world ranking goes, you're not gonna make it out of one tournament being the major. You're gonna have to like go through to more events anyway. So like Ghost going to these 3 events or whatever is actually more beneficial to them, not just as a team, but because
yeah, like
they'll be
Ghost
able to
has
go
never
up in the
even
ranks
made
if
an
they play
event
well.
before.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
agree.
if
That's why
Steel
I'm
can
saying
go to a
right now.
major-
That's why I'm saying right now. This makes what they're doing right now makes the most sense, and it's a good business move. Sacrificing potential major to qualify for these events right now is a good business move. What I'm saying is down the line, if the team gets so much better to the point where you don't need Steel to qualify for the events anymore, you have other players that can qualify you for the same events, and now you can start qualifying for majors. That's the point when you would make that change. Once the team gets significantly better, is what I'm
He's
saying.
too integral to their success, though. Like,
Right
here's
now,
my question.
right now,
Yeah,
yes, I agree with you.
I don't know, man. He's the best player on that team. He's
I agree
calling.
with you.
And look at it this way, right? Like, let's say he
Okay,
can go to
just-
majors. Let's say he can go to majors. How deep do they go, as opposed to if he can't, right? Like, does it make that big of a difference at the major? I don't.
I personally, yeah, I agree. I feel like it's
Can I
gonna
just
be.
end this argument? Can we
Yeah,
just
go.
move on? Okay. Yes, Davey, you're right. If they don't need Steel to make majors and be good, then yes, they'll get rid
I'm
of
talking
him.
like
But I don't
like
see that.
over a year down the line.
No,
I
no,
don't
no.
think anytime soon.
My point is that I don't see that happening.
Yeah. neither
Like
do
I just don't
Fair
see
enough.
that happening.
Fair
There's not enough players
I don't see it
around
happening
where they're
either.
just gonna upgrade their roster with 4 people to then get to the point to
I-
replace him when there's not even that many IGLs either.
Look, I agree.
Yes,
I,
Crystal's
I
IGL.
don't see it happening either. I'm saying that this might be their thought process.
Right.
But yeah, in terms of other teams like Rogue and stuff, I don't know too much about Rogue. Like I've never. I guess Pujon would have the best insight into
I
that.
played for Rogue.
Because
For Rogue?
well, like
Why?
with Katie, because you played with Cadian for a bit on TSM, you played
Uh,
with Hunter a bit. You played with Rick too.
I
You
mean,
played- like,
there
Steve-
is a lot of personalities on that Rogue team. So like,
Yep.
if you were to ask me if that team was like, I feel like when shit gets turbulent on that roster, I don't, in my head, with all that I know about those players, which is very limited compared to like, I'm sure they've grown. Like Hunter's grown since TSM, same with Katie and all those guys. So for all I know, they could be like super mature all of a sudden and like very, like they're able to handle problems really well and all that stuff. But if I were to picture it, I feel like chances are they probably get into a lot of arguments, just because there's a lot of different personalities on that team, and like personalities do end up clashing when it's like that, when there's so many alpha personalities constantly clashing with each other. So just like any team that's losing a lot and any team argues, I feel like for them it'll be more detrimental down the line, you know? Like if they lose, I feel like there's definitely going to maybe be changes or like at least massive overhauls in terms of the roster.
I actually disagree. I played with like all of those guys. I played with Sick and Vice forever. I played with Cadian.
Yeah.
I almost signed with them before GX. And I actually think Cadian's like a very, very, very good leader in terms of just like managing all.
So you
of
don't
that-
think
those
they would
emotions.
like? You don't think they would like have?
Who's
that
first to
type of-
go? Who's first to go in that situation?
on Rogue?
Yeah.
Well,
Vice,
I
right?
feel like either Vice or possibly Hiko.
I think it would be Hiko.
Yeah, I feel like Vice or Hiko. Vice obviously having, I feel like Vice has the edge just because he's a little bit younger, whereas Hiko's like basically like maybe. I personally don't know like what his thought process is on the game now compared to like back in the day. Like I don't know if he has the same hunger still. I'm sure he does, but at the same time, it's like he has a stream to fall back on. So even if CS doesn't work out competitively for him,
Does
he
he
could always go
even
back to
stream
streaming.
anymore?
No, but I know he's tweeted that he would want to, or like he's gonna come back to streaming
Okay.
again, something. So like I feel like it wouldn't be a huge step down for him if he like decided to stream instead. Like he's still gonna get a ridiculous amount of money from streaming. So I feel like if anything, Vice would have the edge on him. But in terms of just pure skill, I think Vice would be the weakest on that team. No.
I don't think so.
No?
I think he has a lot of like.
When I watched
potential.
Rogue a little bit, I think Vice looked pretty good.
So
Like,
who
I
would
think
you say is their weak link?
The
I think
personalities.
they're all very close. I think whoever causes the most like problems
That's it.
and mentally gets cut first.
True.
I don't think it's a skill based thing in that team because I don't think anyone's like too detrimental. It's like obviously Cadian and Rick don't get cut in my opinion. Like I think they're off the table for getting
Right.
cut, and probably Hunter as well. So yeah, it'd probably be Vice or Hiko.
Yeah.
If you like break it down like that, I think Rick and Cadian, there's no way they get.
Do you guys feel like there's gonna be like a lot of changes after the major?
Yeah.
Like usually there is, but like more so this time around when it comes to like some of the better teams in the world.
The better
Okay.
teams, yeah. I don't think Complexity or Rogue will make a change for a while because they like making the majors big, you know.
I think
I don't
they
think
will.
they would just make a change, right?
I
Unless
think-
there's something really bad.
I
going
think
on.
I think
I don't know though.
I think if they bomb out of the major when they don't get out of the challenger stage or whatever, and they bomb out in the major.
You're
I
talking about
think-
Rogue, right, Davey?
Rogue or Complexity, either one.
Okay.
Like either one of those teams. I think if they bomb out in challenger stage, like what would have been the major qualifier, I think that they will. I think that each of them will make changes if they bomb out in the challenger stage.
Speaking of the major, then Depths, like your team didn't make the major, obviously. Like how do you feel like that was a fluke or no?
It wasn't a fluke. We legitimately lost, but like we put way too much pressure on ourselves. You could just feel it in the match. Like I'm sure everyone in here's like had a match where they felt the
Yeah.
pressure like a lot. But it was like all five of us. Even our coach, even Chet was feeling the pressure. Like even Chet said after the major, like he prepared too much for
Was
it.
there like a moment where it got really bad in the tournament, or like did
It
you go
wasn't,
into
like-
it completely fine and then it like something happened that triggered it?
Well, like in the complexity BO3, like we destroyed them on cash. Like we're like, okay, we're just gonna cruise through this. And then train, we were winning like 14-9, but like we just started to lose a bit. We lost like a 1v3 to Shazam, I think, and then lost like two 2v4s. We lost like all the odd man situations when we were up. So we threw train, but like after we threw train, we were like mentally out of it for the last map. And then versus E United, I don't know, like we were just like still out of it. It felt like. I felt like we didn't recover versus United.
So what happened? Like, how is there like a difference, such a big difference between you guys at the major and you guys at Shanghai? Because I feel like that
it's the
seemed
fact
easier.
that it's the major. Because like all the players, like okay, so Jacob and I, or Fugly and I, have made a major before, right?
Yeah.
But the other three players, like they've never had stickers before, right? Stickers are like a big deal if you've never gotten stickers
Yeah.
before, right? But it wasn't just them. Like I felt the pressure too. It's like it sucks going into a tournament when you're like you have to win. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't just
You're like a
a
favorite yourself.
yeah. It wasn't even like we're expected to get top 2. You know, it was like we should just straight up win this.
Yeah.
It wasn't like we might like we should get second or first.
So,
It's just
but
like,
but it was the same. In all fairness, it was the exact same expectations at Shanghai. Like you were supposed to win that event, and you did.
I disagree. I mean, like I think we expected to make the final, but like Tyloo can just be insane if
Yeah,
they're
but you
hitting
were
their
still
shot.
the favorites though.
Yeah.
I'm not saying we weren't favorites, but it wasn't the same though. Like Gambit had beaten Complexity earlier.
So
this
do you think?
year. Like I don't think. Like
So
it
did the
broke-
fact that it
I
was
don't know.
domestic mess with you guys too? Like, do you think like if it wasn't domestic matchups,
Well,
it would have been easier?
I think just we got in our own heads a lot because we went in thinking like we're the team everyone's going to be looking at, right? Like
I see.
all these teams haven't went to that many lands, so one, we don't really know how they play as much, but we just went to like 4 lands in a row. We went to Sydney, Dallas, Starladder, ECS, and then the minor, right? So it's
Yeah.
literally a month straight of lands where we didn't really get to do much else other than go to lands. And these teams, I don't know if they did. They might not have watched us, but I assume they did just like watch games of us playing. And on top of that, whatever demos they watched. So it's like they have a full month of stuff to watch. So whether or not they anti-stratted us or not, we got in our own heads thinking about that. And then also on top of that, we just had
Pressure.
this like
Has your team been in that position before at an event?
never
Oh,
like
that's a big
that.
thing, then.
Never that big a favor. Like I'd say the pressure of getting rid of the onliner tag was a lot easier to get rid of than the being absolute favorite tag.
Yeah.
Like I've never, even in my career, I've never felt like I should just straight up win a LAN. Even when we won the minor on Optic, we weren't guaranteed favorites to win it. Like TSM was there, like Pujon was there with TSM, they were good.
Yeah.
And then Tempo Storm was there. They were actually the ones expected to win that with like the old Tempo Storm with Henny and Lucas and
yeah.
Phelps and Volts or whatever. So like when we won that minor, we were like the top 3, you know? We weren't guaranteed to win that LAN. But this LAN, it was like
For sure.
like I don't want to make it, I hate making excuses, but it was just like it's something that will probably never happen again because we lost the minor already. But I think it's good. It sucks that it happened, but I think it's good for the younger players. Because the same thing happened to me on Optic, right? Like when we had Shazam before Mixwell, we were heavier favorites at that event, right? Like we were actually expected to win that one, and we came 3rd, 4th, and we lost to Davies' team.
I was gonna say that at that minor, you were supposed to win that one.
Yeah, we were supposed to win that on Optic, and we lost. It was me, Naf, Rush, Shazam,
Stanislav.
and Stanislav. Yeah, like we were expected to win that because it was like Enemy, Splice, and someone else. I don't even know.
That's
like
it. No, that minor was weak.
No, yeah. So we were expected to win that minor, and the same
Winter
thing
Fox,
happened.
dude. Winter Fox.
Yeah,
was the
Winter
other pro
Fox.
team
I
there.
don't even remember. So like that minor we were expected to win. That's with like Naf and Rush and shit, and we choked to that one too. But then we qualified for the next one instantly because we like got over that hurdle, and I feel like that'll happen this
It's gonna
time.
happen again then, 100%.
Yeah. Like
Do you guys think-
I don't think that big of a breakdown will happen ever again.
So it's safe to say like Liquid is like the most consistent team in NA, right?
Mhm.
Right now,
Yeah.
or like probably one of the most consistent teams in the world right now. Do they make any changes? Do you think going forward, just because they can't beat one team in the world right now?
It would have to be a change that guarantees they improve.
Yeah.
It's too risky to like like if you're consistently beating every team in the world except Astralis,
Yeah.
you have to make sure it's the right change. Because
Right.
you could just completely screw yourselves. If
Who
you
is that
cut-
player pool that instantly puts you over that? It's like 4 players in
Dude,
the world.
it's
5
literally
players.
like Glaber Kerrigan in fucking coming in and replacing. I guess it would have to be Nick, like it would have to be Nitro, and I don't even think that's worth it. Like,
you would say it's
if
an
it was
in-game leader,
Glaive-
like you would change?
No,
I'm saying
no,
you
no,
slap
no.
another star on that
I'm
bitch.
not saying there should be a change. I'm saying if you were to make a change that would guarantee you start beating Astralis, it would have to be take Glaive from Astralis and put him on your team. Like
Right.
that'd be the way you could make a change that would guarantee you start
think-
beating Astralis.
So-
and that's like
so
the
I
only
have an
one
idea,
I can think
right?
of.
Like addition
Okay,
by subtraction.
So
Yeah.
I thought about this just randomly, and I talked to Daps about this briefly. But like, what if you had like someone like Automatic join for someone like Taco, which I'm not saying should happen because I think Taco is doing well on Liquid as they're placing second at every event almost. But just think about that for a second. Like, do you guys think that would be like sick or no?
No,
That's an
Do you
upgrade,
think?
in my opinion.
I agree
Wait,
with
so?
you. On paper, it's an upgrade. I don't think that'd be sick. I think on on paper, Stewie for
Keep in
Taco
mind,
is
by
an
the way-
upgrade too.
Sorry, just to interrupt you. Keep in mind that Taco plays a lot of the same roles that Tim does, even though people
Yeah.
think that Taco is an entry on Liquid. If you watch Liquid play, a lot of the times
He's a closer.
he plays a lot of the end round situations more so, and in mid round as opposed to like starting the round out trying to like fight people and stuff.
He's playing
You know
them
what I
really
mean?
well
More
right
for
now,
an
too.
entry.
He's
Right.
playing them really well.
So he's playing a lot of the same roles as Tim. So,
I think
alright,
on
go ahead,
paper,
Dave.
Tim is an upgrade to Taco. I think on paper, I think that we've seen what happens to a team that thinks, oh, we can just replace Taco and pick up someone better. I think
Oh,
Taco's
yeah.
incredibly
Taco does a
undervalued.
lot.
I think Taco's incredibly undervalued, and to me, he is one of the
Well, definitely not
irreplaceable
anymore,
players
I would say.
on Liquid. I think he still is. I think he still is undervalued.
The problem is that I don't think like I think Nick's doing a good. Like I think Nick doesn't get enough, or I'll say Nitro. I don't think Nitro gets enough credit for his IGLing.
I think
Like
so too.
anytime there's ever like IGL conversations, he just gets like brushed over.
He
know.
literally
Yeah.
isn't even mentioned. I feel.
Yeah,
Nick is
he's
so
not even
good.
mentioned. Like
Nick
in my
is so
opinion, Nitro's a better caller than like Tarek was.
Oh, I agree.
Like
100%.
just from
Yeah.
watching how the
I mean,
teams are
in terms
ran.
of like the consistency in the results, obviously his calling has to have something to do with that, right?
Yep.
Like, and the
But
fact that he's opping while calling, like that's
it's not even
the only
result
player.
based, though. It's just how I see them play. Like
Yeah, they play
Right, but
really
even
good
in general,
CS. I'm
like,
gonna give
he's-
some of that credit to Zeus, but Nick is
I was about to ask,
obviously
What if
incredible.
the coach thing? Because Zeus is sick, right? But like, what if like, I mean, you play for Soham. I think like when I know Soham as a person, I've never played for him. Like, do you think he's like hypothetically you exchange Zeus for Soham, right? For Valence, sorry. Like, do you think that
So
makes
like
him better?
Soham goes to Liquid, you're saying?
to Liquid, yeah.
I would say that Soham. I have never played with Zeus, so I wouldn't really know if that would be a good like change to make because I don't know what Zeus is capable of or what he does for the team. But the way I see it, Zeus is like more of like somebody who just isn't like super involved in tactics.
He's like
I could be wrong, but I feel
Zeus?
like that's not the case. Yeah, I don't think he's super involved in how they play the game. I think he's probably more super involved in
well, he has
kind
to
of
manage the
making sure-
attitudes.
yeah, more
Which
so
is a
that.
good,
You know what I
like, a
mean?
good person
Like
to have for
people.
Liquid.
the psychological aspect of the team, not necessarily more like because I feel like the players play and they all have their own play styles, and I feel like they all play pretty well, regardless of whether Zeus is there or not, and that was proven at E-League. Not saying Zeus isn't valuable tactically, but I'm just saying I think he's more there for like psychological reasons.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Now,
if your
whereas
roadblock
Soham-
is Astralis, right? That when Soham in my head, that would be a
Well,
a
here's the
fix
thing
of
with
that.
Soham though. Like the thing with Soham is a lot of the times he doesn't necessarily say like he's a lot more hindsight than like I would have thought earlier. Like he's a lot more like he'll like look at the demo and be like, okay, maybe we should do this, maybe we should do this, but he'll let the IGL make the like end decision.
Fair,
So
but
he's
if you're
not
getting
as, like,
consistently
alpha
second
either.
to the same team, right? If you're consistently getting second to the same team, wouldn't that hindsight eventually put you over the hump while keeping the same
In my
five?
opinion, the
be
coaching
honest,
doesn't matter at all.
Yeah, like to be
it
honest,
really
I don't think.
doesn't.
I mean, again, it was splitting hairs without
Like,
having to move a roster.
To be honest,
They need an
I've played with
offer.
Soham,
That's all they
I
need.
played with Soham, and I feel like I don't think like he would add as much as like you might think, just because he's not insanely like a tactical coach either. Not
Right,
insane
okay.
not to the level that like Chet is. Chet is like fully dwelled into that, and I'm sure like Dabs can back me up on that. Like Chet fully dwells. Like I've had multiple conversations with Chet like a day when he was my coach about what we can do to make our CT side better, and like literally specific ideas going into servers constantly. Me and Soham never did that. Not saying that makes Chet better than Soham. It's just a different style of coaching.
You also
So,
don't really have a lot
I
of
can-
time on
An offer,
C9
right?
to practice.
Like I agree
right?
with Damien. They just need an offer.
I can speak more on it, and I'll also make my point about Liquid. So I'll just make my point about Liquid first. So, in my opinion, I'm not going to say who deserves to get cut or not, or if anyone deserves to get cut, because obviously they're the most consistent NA team ever in CSGO so far, and they can beat everyone except Astralis, so that's really good. But in my opinion, to beat Astralis, I think you need a device on your team. Like I'm
Or a
not like
simple
like
dog shit.
honestly, like respect to Nitro for like making the most out of opping and calling, like two things he initially didn't even want to do, and he's like playing good now as well.
Really well.
Yeah, like he's playing really good right now. So it's like, but I think eventually like Liquid's gonna just I'm sure they already do notice it. Like if they had a device or just like a Guardian, Simple, like any of those type of operas on their team, I think that would put them over the hump to
What
just
is
like win
Mixon doing these
events.
days?
He's on a Spanish team. But in terms of Amapet, yeah, like he always brings ideas. Even if the ideas aren't good, like you just sift through it, right? Like he starts a conversation about something and then it can turn into something good. Like
I think
comes with like an initial idea and then you talk about it and
Yeah.
then you refine it.
I
And
think
that's
Liquid
what
needs a
helps
coach
a lot.
like Zeus for one main reason. I feel like there's too many strong personalities on Liquid. Like a lot of strong personalities, like someone like Elige, I feel like just has probably a lot of ideas and a lot of opinions. And I feel like someone like Naf, I know for a fact probably has like specific things that he wants to do to make him comfortable and like help have him play comfortable and stuff like that. So I think someone like Zeus is necessary to make sure everybody's on like happy with each other. And that's, I think, the main thing on Liquid, because I think skill-wise they're all really good players, and I think it's obvious that they're like placing second place every tournament. Like, obviously they're doing something right. But as far as like what Dap said about having a really, really insane opper, I think every star player in the world right now, outside of Nico, and even Nico can op really well, but a lot of the star players in the world right now, Simple, Device, Guardian, Oscar, all those players are the best players on their teams, and I think a lot of the reason for that is because they op a lot, and they a lot of the times primary op, and that adds to it because a lot of the times they end up in situations where instead of it being a 1v1 at the end of the round, it'll be 4 people alive on CT side because those guys will get like 3 or 4 kills because of insane positioning and how good they are overall.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's really important to have a really, really good opper.
Like, Nick in my head is not an opper, you know? And it's like, he's playing really well.
It also helps having like the insane riflers that they have and the insane clutchers. Like Naf and Twist are just ridiculous. Like, they just win the most ridiculous rounds. And then Lee's just been, like, they've all just been playing so well. Even Taco.
But yeah, that's the point there, right? Is like, when we played, what was it?
But it's a lot harder, like you said, Daps. Like, it's a lot harder without an insane opper like a Guardian or
it's a lot harder to carry as a rifler.
Yeah,
and I think that's Liquid's downfall, right? Like, when we played them at Star Ladder and beat them the second time, when their riflers aren't playing as well, you can beat them because we have an insane opper, right? And he can pick them apart. But when we lost to them, they destroyed us at ECS, and all, like, when Elige, Naf, and Twist are all firing, like, you're not beating them. It doesn't even matter what they do. Like, they're just gonna instantly kill you, and that's what happened. Like, I feel like I didn't even get a chance in that BO3. So it's like, when, like, I feel like when the riflers aren't playing as well, and Astralis is the type of team, in my opinion, where, like, they're not gonna lose because you're hitting your shots, you know? Or, like, even if you call well and you're hitting your shots, I feel like that opper just helps you so much.
They grind a lot. Yeah, and they play a lot of.
I feel like just like a star opper just helps you so much. Like, when the riflers are getting shut down a little bit, just that opper comes and saves the day, especially on the CT side.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say specifically on the CT side, that makes like economy a lot easier to manage. Yeah. So overall, we don't make any changes to like Liquid, right? Ideally.
Yeah.
But if Tim was available, which he's not obviously, but if he was, do you add him for Taco or no?
No, I say no.
No. You just
it's,
leave it
it's an upgrade on paper, but I don't think you do. I don't think you.
Just because like don't fix what's not broken, right? Type of situation.
Yeah.
Can they do it though? Can they do it?
Depends on the personalities too.
Can they beat Astralis twice in a row? Could Liquid do it? Like overtime?
Yeah, I think they could. And I don't think replacing.
And there's no reason to
Taco is
change
the
anything,
answer.
right?
But the problem I have is, like, even if Tim on paper is better than Taco, I don't see Tim putting them over the edge.
Yeah.
If Tim replaced Taco, like, I don't
think it's
see
worth
that.
it.
Like, I don't see that being like, oh, Tim's on the team. Like, they're just gonna beat Astralis constantly now. I think a star opper puts them over the edge more than another rifler.
See, like, okay, for example,
Tim's a good secondary op, but like, still, it's.
Do you think anybody? Do you think, Dabs, right now, anybody on your team is a top 10 player in the world?
Yeah.
Who?
Cirque can definitely. Cirque, no question.
You think Cirque, no question, right now is a top 10 player in the world?
Not right now.
Well, that's what he asked. He said right now.
Okay, then top 20.
Okay, whatever. At the end,
top 20. Top 20.
So I'll ask more like later in the year. Like, do you feel like he'll keep up what he's doing? Like at the end of the year, you think he'll be top 20 player in the world, like HLTV ranking type shit?
He has the ability to do it.
Nice.
Whatever happens, happens. I can't, obviously.
The way you feel about Cirque is exactly the same way I feel about Ethan. So I think you have two of those players. Like, I agree with Cirque for sure. Like, that's a no-brainer to me. I feel like Ethan will also be up there as long as you guys keep up consistent results, obviously. But yeah.
Yeah, Ethan is the most consistent rifler I've ever played with. Like, even more consistent than when I played with Naf. Like, Naf was inconsistent when I played with him. So it's like, Ethan's one of the best riflers I've ever played with, and Cirque's the best opera I've ever played with. So
yeah.
So everyone on my team's been really consistent lately. So it's nice. Like, everyone.
Yeah, like that Shanghai win seemed a little too easy. The final, at least.
No, the final.
I
so
didn't
easy.
expect it. We didn't expect it to be that easy either. Like, we prepared, we practiced a little bit as much as we could, and I don't know. Just we played well, and like those teams have to play us on overpass. It's like, if you're gonna play us on overpass, you better be Better be pretty good on over. I don't know why we're so good on overpass. I think it's just because it's the one map where our CT side is good.
Yeah, having a
our
really good
CT
opera on
side-
CT side overpass is just it's so annoying on T side to play against if you're playing against a good opera on CT side overpass.
But it's not even about having a good opera. Like I don't know what it is, but on CT side we just all know what to do. Like
Y'all got good setups, man. I'm gonna say it straight up. Like I've been on straight up. I've been on teams that have literally like stolen like 3 or 4 setups on that map, and I hate that fucking map.
Yeah, it's just like because usually our CT sides are horrible, right? Like if you look at our map win percentage on both halves, like our T sides are usually what we rely on a lot of maps.
Yeah.
Because everyone on my team is just like confident, like going for entry kills with an AK and stuff. But overpass is the one map where we're like, nice CT sides coming, like we can
Yeah.
roll on this shit.
I think you have everybody in the right spots on that map as per your setups. Like like based on your players' playstyles and the setups that you guys have, like on that map, I think it fits really well.
No, yeah, I like it because I don't have to anchor at all. I just hide in the middle of the map supporting everybody.
Blue,
just
dude, you
rotating
stay blue so
around,
well.
yeah.
You're the best blue player, dude.
Yeah,
Best
I
blue
just
player.
run around. Yeah. In terms of like Cirque being a top 10 player currently, I mean, I can't really.
It's hard to gauge that.
You have
be
to
honest.
in my opinion, you have to win like a tier 1 LAN, like with all the top teams there.
Really?
I think in order to be considered a top 10 player in the world, you have to be consistently playing at the tier 1 lands, performing well at them, and then
But like
and then
beating the
get good
tier 1
results.
team, not even
Exactly.
playing at like we're playing at the tier 1 lands.
Right, no,
now,
that's what
but
I-
we
that's
need
what
to
I was
beat
saying.
like Navi and shit.
All right, so I'm
and
saying you have to be
Astralis
consistently
and-
playing at the tier 1 lands, playing well, and then getting results to be considered a
So,
top 10
so
player
like
in the
teams
world.
like VP and NIP, right? Everyone's saying they're falling off or whatever. Outside of NIP winning, going to the major finally, do you guys feel like they're gonna be back or no? This is it for them. Like, cause VP just picked up Snatchy. I think did NIP just make a change too?
Well,
Back
they
in
got
terms of
Electro.
what? Like back top 5 back?
No, top 10 at least back.
I
Top
think
10.
Nip can be back.
I think Nip's better than Tyloo and North, so yeah, top
Oh.
10. But then I think Optic could do that too. Like I think there's a lot of teams that could get like I think a lot of those teams can beat Tyloo.
What about Snatchy then? You guys think Snatchy is like a massively good like?
Natchi is
improvement?
like a must. Yeah,
I think so too. Yeah.
he's
I think
he's
he's a
like
god
the only
star.
he's the best opera in Poland, so they should definitely have him. I think Snatchy, like if they don't do well with Snatchy, then I don't know what's wrong. But I think they showed improvement at Shanghai, and with Snatchy, I think VP can VP will definitely be top 15, and if like Bialy and all of them start playing like they used to, then I think they could.
You know, a team that
Top
confuses
10.
me a lot is Mouse Sports because I feel like those players like all together just doesn't make sense, but it works. It's like worked for them for like the last
Dude, it's
6
Sunny,
months
man.
to 8
They
months.
just have players that break the rules, man.
Yeah, like they all are good,
Dude, the
but
thing
it's
is,
odd to me how that worked out.
it's
that
dude,
team.
it's because Sunny is so aggressive and so confident, and he can play in such a way. And then you have Oscar, right? Who
Sonny
everybody
Oscar
knows-
Rops.
Yeah, Sunny, and then Rops, but like they all offset each other perfectly, though. Is
Yeah.
what I was getting at. Like
And then Chris
Sunny
Shea
is
just
so
stepped up,
aggressive
too.
and so in your face and so good, and then Rops is so passive and so good at that, and then Oscar is so good at doing whatever the fuck he does. Like no one,
Oscar
can,
just
you
breaks
can't
the
even
rules,
define
man.
what that guy does. I watched him once in a match. He's on train. He's opping in ladder, goes up the ladder, crouching up the ladder, and no scopes the guy sitting above the ladder waiting for him, and then goes back down and runs away. Like no one does that. That's not something you do. Like so. They have
it's
all
such
these
an
X
odd-
factors.
It's such an odd lineup though. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you like told me that lineup like a year and a half ago, it would be like sick. I'd just be like, this is just a bunch of random people put together, but they're all good players. But I don't see that working.
Chris
as a
Shay's
team.
underrated. Chris Shay's sick. I love what he does to that
Yeah,
team.
he's good too,
Yeah.
for sure.
I think Chris Shea is that team.
Yeah.
Like if they
he
had
is so
lost
much.
Chris Shea somehow, like I may be wrong. I honestly have no idea how any of those players are, but Chris Shea is the IGL, right?
Yeah.
And he's the
Yeah.
secondary up, and he seems to be really level-headed too. So I feel like,
He's kind of known for being a rager in the past, anyways.
but so are like the other people on that team.
Oh
too.
yeah, no, for sure. No, I'm not talking
I
shit.
feel like he's like, I don't know. I'm just bullshitting. Like I have no idea.
I could see Chris Shay
But I
leveling
just-
people out. Knowing Chris Shay, like I could see him like leveling out.
I feel like he's
especially young
matured
personalities.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Like
sure he has.
he's one of the older people on the team now, right? So
Is there not going to be any move ups for MDL next season?
Next
Into Pro
season
League?
the next one is the one that.
This
where
one's
they
a
do
move-up
the
season.
move-ups. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I meant this one, like this coming up one.
This coming up one is the one where they do the move-ups. Last
Oh, okay.
season
Season-
had no
yeah.
move-ups. Last
Oh,
season
I
had
see,
no
okay,
move-ups.
29 is a move-up season, right?
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's got to come back for that one. Just kidding.
So Soul Patrol's the best MDL team now.
It's not even close. It's not even
No,
close.
no.
I think so.
No, yes, they are. Trust
Oh,
me.
they are, right?
Are they?
Yeah, it's not
Them
even
and-
close.
I mean, they
Didn't
pretty much.
everybody-
Oh yeah, because they have
were-
Brax and Markey now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
we're
you're
talking-
right.
listen,
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
talking
yeah, you're right.
NPL, let me set
I
up
forgot
this
about
one.
that. I forgot about their roster changes.
Yeah. It's not even close, dude.
Yeah.
They're gonna
Wasn't
win.
it Dignitas like went undefeated almost, and then they lost to Bravado, right? I
Yeah.
remember seeing that.
Quarterfinal.
Is Bravado good? Are they like competing with Soul Patrol or?
I think they play well as a unit. I just don't think they have the talent to offset like anything. Like Soul Patrol has a bunch of people that are just gonna run at you and shoot you in the head. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Which is what you need in MDL to win it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. A lot of 4-1s in MDL, man.
All right, boys. What's left? C9.
Let's go with them. Who'd they just pick up? Golden?
They got Golden and Seiko's
Tico's
playing
a
the major.
stand-in, so.
Seiko's playing at least the major, right? And then one
And
other
after that, yeah, for all of September.
event.
I like
Apparently.
Golden for them. I think Golden's good for them.
What about Seiko?
I think he's a really hard worker, and I think he like rips people's heads off like more than people give him credit for. But I don't know enough about him.
Listen, this team is like solid. Like, and I'm not trash talking Golden or Stico or Skadoodle even, like, but they just don't have enough firepower on that team right now. Like to beat any of the top teams, they don't have enough
Consistently,
firepower.
at least.
Yeah.
They'll be a solid team who could like be annoying and maybe get an upset, but they don't have enough firepower to be a top team. They just don't. Like, unless all of a sudden their players become
They need to hit
way
form.
better. Like Skadoodle needs to hit his top form again, like his peak form, which is, with all due respect, we just haven't seen it. We saw it at the major, and that was it, right? Like, Stico has to play his best CS ever, Golden has to play his best CS ever, and then Rush and Tim both have to play their best CS. It's just for them to be a top
I mean,
team
Golden just has to
consistently.
call well.
No,
Golden
but-
doesn't
but-
have to play his best CS.
Well, okay, sorry. He needs to be the best version of himself. He needs
And
to
I
be
think
the best
that-
in-game leader. He needs to be the best that he's been.
I agree. I mean, every player goes through slumps. Like, it's literally, you could say the same thing about VP. It's like if Bialy just starts playing how he used to and shit, then VP's like, and same with Neo. If they just start playing how they used to, then they'll just like
Right.
skyrocket. Same thing with C9. Like,
That's exactly what I'm using
their
as my
peaks
point
are all
for why.
insane.
Right, but that's exactly
That's
why I'm saying. I'm using that as a point for why they're
Yeah.
not going to be good enough, because it's unrealistic to expect that.
Yeah, it's just
So you-
it's
So you
hard,
guys
it's
think
hard
they're
to
just not
say.
gonna? So in your eyes, the lineup isn't gonna work.
No. Like I said, I think they'll be a solid team with upside potential, but I don't think they're going to be good enough. They don't have enough firepower to be consistently a top team.
So a better question then is: do you think that teams like Complexity, like we mentioned, Rogue, United, Ghost, can they overtake Cloud9 in NA rankings?
I mean,
I think so.
online it's going to be a bloodbath. Like, I mean, United and those teams were already beating C9 before Tarek
Yeah.
left and shit, and Stewie left. So it's like, online anything can happen. I don't think
United
even
was
us,
beating C9 with
even
their old lineup.
even we're gonna lose to those teams. So it's like, even though we're considered like the online fucking team,
Not anymore.
next season we're gonna be like, it's gonna be a bloodbath. It's gonna be some scary online BO1s for
Yeah,
sure.
no, it will be. You're right.
As for C9 and how they're gonna do it, it's just too hard to tell, right? Like
We need
Yes.
at least
Like,
one event. to
on
gauge.
like on paper that roster, like Tim is a god. Fucking Scott when he's playing insane is insane. Rush can just like carry.
Yeah.
In like Golden,
Rush just
I
wins you
haven't
games.
seen. I haven't really watched Golden play honestly, but like
But
Golden
I've only heard good
one. Golden's won 2 lands with Fnatic and
Look what he did for Fnatic
like-
though. Like that's not easy to do. You know, to come in with like players that have
Well-
a lot of
Well,
prestige.
the odd thing for me was, and this is like no offense to him because I don't know for sure what happened, but like as soon as they won Katowice, Fnatic announced that they wanted to replace him. Do you remember that? And
Yeah.
then
Yeah.
right after they won though, they wanted to replace him, and then they went to WSG with him, won that, and then he stayed. But
yeah.
like realistically, they were still trying to get rid of him.
What if that comes down to players just not attributing their success to what it really was, which was him like bringing them together again?
But it's not like Fnatic is less successful without him right now. It's not like,
Right.
you know what I mean? Like a lot of
That's
teams
just a
act
weird
kind of-
situation.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like odd for me to like. That's why it's so odd to gauge someone like Golden because you don't know. You
Yeah,
actually
you just don't know.
But it's the same thing with Stiko, right? So like, I don't know how they're going to use Stiko. If Stiko's used the exact same way he's used on most sports, then that puts more pressure on like Rush and Tim to play a lot better.
And
Because like,
Ska has
and
to
Skadoodle
play
too.
really
Because
bad.
like on most sports, it worked with Stiko because Sonny was just owning everybody all the time. Oscar,
He was put in position.
Chris J.
Right? Is what you're saying?
Well, that and just like I'm sure Stiko made them better.
Yeah.
In some form, or like supported them in some way. So it just means that the star players have to be more defined. If you have like a set IGL, like I don't think Golden puts up the high. Like I think Krishay puts up higher numbers than Golden, to my knowledge.
Yeah.
So
it
it's
does.
like it just means that there's going to be more pressure on Skadoodle, Tim, and Rush to be like utilized to the best of the abilities and supported properly. But if they
Scott
don't
hits
go
form,
that
that
route,
seems insane though, right? Like if Scott hits his form, that opens up like those type of play styles. That opens up all of those players if Scott does his Scott thing.
But that's the shitty thing is that you could say that about any team now. Like any team has
Right
offers
now,
that
yeah.
if you could be like, dude, if Chris J goes off here, fucking they're winning that shit. You know, you could say that about any team now, at least in the top 10, because every team has like 2 to 3 players that, if on form, can't be beat really. Like if they're on point, you know, or
Yeah.
like they'll make it really hard for their opponent to win. So,
But it's not
really
as,
hard.
but it's with Scott. It's a huge contrast, though. Is what I'm saying. Like when he's
Yeah.
on, it's like what you're saying. But if he's not, it's you know what I mean. It's a huge
Yeah.
fall off for the whole team.
I just feel like so hard to say that with operas because I feel like any opera that's on point, it's just so hard to beat that player. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? No matter
especially
in
online.
most situations, especially players like Guardian, players like Oscar, Device. That's why I mentioned before that the players that are the best in the world right now, even the players that have been best in the world previous years, Cold Zera to be one of them, they've mostly been either primary or secondary operas for their team. And like those ops mainly do wonders on CT side, you know, get them 11, 12 rounds on CT side because they're dominant on that CT side with the op. You put a rifle in their hands and no op, if they're not allowed to op at all, imagine how little the impact would be compared to an op.
Yeah.
I think
I feel like-
Fur was like the highest ranked non-opper. He got
Yeah.
third
Cold
in the
Zera.
world.
I feel like people like
Well, Cold Ops.
no,
Cold's a
Cold
second.
ops a lot.
Cold
Cold ops a
didn't-
shit
Cold
ton.
Ops a lot.
No, he did. He opted a lot, but players like Sunny, that's why I respect players like Sunny a lot. Ethan is one of them. I was telling Das about that, and like, just people who never op that are just pure riflers that still put up ridiculous numbers. Like,
Twist.
super
Rops
impressive
as
to me.
well.
Rops, yeah.
like
Yeah.
Best Sports has two of them. Two of the
Yeah.
people that can just bang out rifles.
And even like Russ,
Twist,
you know what I mean?
Elige.
Twist,
yeah.
Twist, and Elige,
Even
yeah.
Naf recently, Naf like never
Yeah.
ops anymore.
That's like super impressive to me because it's like just the fact that they don't have those secondary operas and are able to do so much with rifles is ridiculously insane. It's like really difficult to do.
Especially with how much weight you have to put on CT sides now. Like if
Yeah.
you're gonna play like that.
Yeah, I think C9 can work out.
So about MIBR then. Is
But
that
I
gonna
think
happen or not?
MIBR.
Yeah.
They have so much skill. It's like unbelievable.
I
Like they
feel
have
like
so many just like star players. I just
Dude,
don't know how it's gonna.
I
match.
feel like that's gonna work only because I know how much like Tarek like has so much respect for Stewie, and I'm sure it's like the same for Stewie with Tarek. Like I know they have so much respect for each other, but also I feel like Stewie's not gonna feel like the odd man out anymore. Even if that wasn't the case before, I feel like it'll be like more so that like now he has
Look
like
at comfy.
prime. Yeah, exactly. He'll be like more comfortable, and he'll have somebody like doing specific roles for him.
That's
and,
all
like,
Stewie needs, though. Like we
Yeah.
all know Jake. Like that's all he needs. Is when he's comfortable, we
Like-
know you know what he's gonna give you against anybody, against team players that are on form or not. Stewie breaks those molds when he's comfortable. With Tarek there, like that's his homie too. You know what I mean? Like that's a lot of chem that goes a long way with a team that is literally like built around having insane amounts of skill. Like that's one of the most skilled lineups in the world.
yeah.
I think the transition to English was harder than I thought.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. it
Like
was.
I think it's
Yeah.
gonna take them the full year, like till 2019 to like
Before, like,
fully
so-
feel
Their
it,
graph
yeah.
though is gonna be insane when that happens. You know what I mean? Like in terms of like wins and stuff, it's gonna be like here. And I'm telling you, it's gonna shoot up. I think they could be the best team in the world for sure.
Like they would definitely when they get their shit together, they're challenging Astralis and stuff. Like
Clean.
they're there. But it's just the transition to English, like
Having Yanko as a
I
coach
couldn't
now,
even
too.
I couldn't even imagine switching languages. That's brutal.
It just sucks that like a lot of those players like also started playing much worse. Like Ferg kind of fell off a little bit, and Fallen kind of fell off a little bit, and Cold usually is just super consistent anyway. So it's like him falling off is like, oh yeah, now he has a 1.15 rating instead. So it's like Cold doesn't really fall off, but everybody else is insane. Like I feel like everybody else has fallen off a lot lately on that SK team.
Well, yeah. It's,
Well, I
it's a
think
huge
Or
they
MIBR.
just lost their like support system. It felt like.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when SK won all those events in the past, it was like a lot of good teamwork. Like they all knew everything each other were doing. It wasn't just like they were winning like how FaZe does sometimes, where they're just like
That team had
acing
prime
everybody and
Fnatic
shit.
levels of mid round. You know what I mean? Like prime
Yeah.
Fnatic, like the awesome Fnatic.
No,
Whatever.
they were really
They
they
got
were
well
like
beautiful.
impossible to play
Okay,
against.
so they
with
have
their-
so they had their comms, like their mid round, their 3v3s or 2v2s, which was like the thing they were known for. Like that is the thing they are the best at. They lost that when they switched to English. So that's a huge loss. Second is Taco fucking unleashes Cold. Like having Taco around, because Cold and Taco always played the same spots together. They played near each other, and Taco was just he was Cold's bait at all times. So that makes Cold way more impactful because Cold is comfortable, Taco's comfortable, environment of the team is better, and then
they just lost all their stability.
they lost.
I can
They
see
lost.
Tarek
switching-
doing that.
switching
And then-
languages.
and then
I can see
Fur-
Tarek being Taco
And then having Taco and Cold doing that opened up Fur to do his thing,
with Fallen right behind him.
and then they lost that because they lost the other two. So when you lose all three of those things, your entire team identity is gone now, and you have to reinvent your team, and you're doing it in a different language with a different player, and it's just, and with a fifth player that knows you tried to cut him, so it's just like they were set up for failure for the first part of it. I think now having Yanko as the coach, they have Tarek and Stewie. The other players are getting better at English. I think if it's gonna work out, it'll be in the next 3 to 4
if anyone
months.
could do it, it's Fallen, right?
Yeah.
Like that's the thing. He'll make
Well,
Yeah,
sense.
that's-
to be
That's a big thing though. Like, do you think Fallen's gonna be back as an opper? Like, do you
Yep.
think he'll
Yes.
ever be back to that prime level Fallen that like everybody knows? Because let's be real, players like Forest, players like Neo, right? Players like just these legendary fucking players that can at any point just go off and win like you a couple of games in big tournaments, but they're nowhere near as consistent as they used to be, right? Like now, like the new generation's coming
it's
in.
not a.
I don't put Fallen in that category though.
And
how?
I think
how
Forrest,
do you not though?
and okay,
Because I feel like his detriment now it comes to having to rebuild an entire system, right? Like once that's figured out, he can now like loosen up a little bit and do the Fallen thing.
But
Fallen shit.
the
I'll-
focus is more on Tarek and Stewie now too.
not even that.
It's not on him.
I'll go a different way with that. You said Forrest and Neo. Those are two players who were legendary in 1.6, came over to CS:GO.
No.
Neo-
I'm saying in like the bring 1.6 out of it. I'm
Okay.
talking about CS:GO specifically. Like
Okay.
Neo and Forest at different eras dominated CS:GO too.
No.
So that's what I'm saying. Like just
Yeah,
yeah,
that's
they
not-
did.
Neo,
With
Forrest
Get Right,
did 100%. Neo did not dominate CS:GO at
No, he
any
did.
point.
Yes,
They
he did.
won.
He got the most important kill of every round they won, in my
Bro,
opinion.
Okay,
I
I'm
don't
not,
know. I don't know.
Listen,
I don't know if I agree
you'll
with
never,
you there.
You'll never find a
I do.
bigger Neo fanboy than me. Trust me.
That is
he
true,
did
that is
not.
true.
He did not dominate CS:GO at any
I
point.
disagree with that. I completely disagree with that. And I'm
When
not
he was
talking
like
about just
secondary opping and shit. He was.
I'm not just talking about statistically, by the way. I mean, saying in general, when that VP team was in their prime, he was really consistent on that roster. Very, very
I
consistent
agree.
player.
He was a very consistent player. He still
so that
is.
to me is very dominant. And on top of that, on top of all of that, they were getting results, like really good results, and they were playing well. So at one point or another, both their team specifically and them like played really well.
Okay.
And Fallen
Okay,
also,
played really
yeah,
well, and their team played well,
Listen,
or
listen.
he dominated. Those are two different
I
things. to me.
I think Neo dominated. I don't know if you did, but that's fine. Like it could be.
Well,
a
I guess we
difference.
have to define
Okay.
what dominating is then, because there's
I think he played consistently as well. Like I think he's one
played
of the most
consistently
consistent
well or dominated. That's two completely different things to me.
Okay, well it's the same thing to me. So,
Oh.
anyways, the
Well,
point
that's
is, listen. So then Fallen's the same way because Fallen was a consistent opper, like very, very consistent opper, known as the best in the world at some points in his career, especially when SK was doing really well. It was Fallen, Fur, and a Cold, right? Can he bring that back? Like, because I feel like players like Forrest and Neo will never be as consistent as they once were. Can Fallen be as consistent?
Well, we have to look at then why would Fallen, like what is Fallen's capacity to do really well for his team? Like, what is his ability to be like the prime force or whatever? And I think that's what he brings to the team is being able to build a system, and like beyond just like being able to shoot people with an AWP really well. And I think once that system is redefined, then I think there's no reason it shouldn't be the same way.
Yeah, because like let's be real, Fallen was the guy that no one knew where he was. He would just like move around everywhere, and he would op half your team, and you wouldn't know where he was at any point. He was the hardest opper to read ever, and I know this personally from playing with him, playing against him consistently. So playing against Fallen from back then, and like seeing his seeing his change now into like more of a kind of like almost a role player now, and like more supportive than as opposed to dominant. I feel like it'll be really hard for him to come back to like that.
I think it's
I think he's doing what he needs to do for now, in my opinion.
I think it's a confidence thing, because if you watch how Simple ops currently, that's how Fallen used to op.
Yeah, it is exactly
Yeah,
Like Simple plays exactly how Fallen used. Like some of the places I'd find Fallen playing against him, he'd be in the most ridiculous spot and just get 2 kills.
No,
with an op.
exactly.
Like,
no, I
like
agree.
a pure tradable spot, but he'd still kill both riflers.
Yeah.
Like, so
He's
I think
comfort
it's a
and
confidence thing partially. Like,
And that's what I'm saying. Like, do you think that that'll come back with this new lineup, or do you think it'll take like it's just gone? Like
it depends on how much his rifler. Like, I think if Tarek and Stewie and Fur comes back as well. Like, I think it depends on like the team in general. Like when everyone's playing well, everyone plays well. You know, like it's the same thing with the Glaive. Like, look how good Glaive's doing right now. Put Glaive on the 4th best Danish team. He's not going to be owning. Like,
Right.
It's a support system. Like everyone just feeds off each other.
They open each other up. Yeah.
Because to me, I genuinely don't think like a player like Neo or a player like Forrest will ever be back to that level of play, that type of domination ever again. I also don't feel the same way for Fallen. You know, like I feel like it's just.
But Forrest is.
It's so hard to bring that back.
But
that
Forrest,
consistency.
Forrest is still playing incredibly well for Nip, like all the time. Like he puts up big numbers constantly. For
We're
Nip.
talking about like that. We're talking about that Forrest.
not
Well,
compared
if we're
to-
talking about like 81-0 or whatever the fuck, 86-0, yeah, no one is ever. That was the time when no one played the game. Like, no one's ever going to be that consistent.
Right.
again.
So the game is definitely more
over the last 5 years since then. Forrest has been
Compare-
So did
consistently.
Forrest get
been-
worse? Did Forrest get worse because everyone else got better?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
No. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, over the last 5 years, you know exactly what you're getting from Forrest all the time. It hasn't changed.
No, it has, because players like Nico are more dominant than Forrest, like in terms of numbers even. Players, if you can name like the top 2 riflers on each team, they're all more consistent than Forrest is. And to me, being consistent and dominant are like one and the same, because you have to be consistent.
It's
100%
really hard to be consistent in this game.
Yeah.
So
No,
if you're
that's for
consistent,
sure.
then you're
Yeah,
a good
there's-
player.
yeah.
But that's what I mean, right? That's why the best players in the
Yeah.
world are the best players, because they're consistent. So players, and take the ops away from them, right? So players like Device, players like Nico specifically, players like just any of those players like Rain, all those riflers, if you compare them to Forrest now, you would say players like Rain and fucking Nico are better. But back, when Forrest was in his prime, you couldn't say that. You would say Forrest is top 2, 3 easy.
Right.
And
I
I
agree.
feel
But
like
my
And
my
that's the
argument.
same with Fallen though, right? Because Fallen used to be the best stopper in the world, or second best, or third best, top 3 easily. And now I feel like he's not even in discussion. So can he bring that back? And that's what I was wondering with like this new lineup. Can they like unleash him? Because I feel like he was a lot of why they were succeeding.
When all the other kinks of that lineup get worked out, Fallen's gonna come back.
you think so?
Yeah.
Like that same level though, or like similar level?
There's no reason it can't.
If
Okay,
they try and
so-
create the same system, then yes. But if he tries to make it more based around Stewie and Tarek, then probably not. If he continues just to play as more of a supportive role, then no.
Right. So I think with this
Yeah,
lineup
that's a
right
good
now, I don't think he's going to try to bring that back. I'm with Daps. I don't think it's going to be like that system, that style of play. I don't think that's what they're going to run with.
Well, they just need to get an initial system down, though, David. That's what I'm saying. Like once they have, like that's what I'm saying. Like I feel like he's doing the
No, but-
supportive off role that
It's
he's
also
doing
a
now.
meta
because he
change
has
too,
to.
so-
That's what I'm
No,
saying.
no. But in the system that they run though, that makes sense with the rest of the players on their team. He's not going to be in those positions he was in before.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it
I
just-
also
it
think the
doesn't
meta
make
change
sense.
plays in a lot to that. I think we're like not touching on that part of it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
No, we are.
Different
Like,
game.
that's what I'm saying. Is that the system now is going to be completely different than the one that it was then. So he's not
Predicated
gonna
on
be
the
in
meta,
same-
though, not the players. in
Both
my opinion.
predicated on both of it. The
Okay,
players that he
sure,
has
sure.
currently, the current meta of the game,
Okay.
just the whole
That's a
way the
fair
game
argument.
is currently played. It's not going to be the same thing. Could he bring that back? Yes. Will he with this lineup? I don't think he's going to try to.
I'm excited to find out. I love Prime Fallen. Prime Fallen's so fun to watch.
No, dude, he was the best.
Yeah, I do agree that he's very similar to the way Simple is now. He used to be the same as like how Simple is right now. Just
Untradeable.
like completely, yeah. It's just too hard. It's just too hard to play when he has an AWP in his hands. It's like so hard, right? Not just to trade him, but like also to know where he is. In like he'll just move in the next 5 seconds. You don't know where he is. He's just a completely different spot, killing your lurker somewhere.
Yeah,
So
and
it's
he'll
like
take a
that's why
peek
it's
that
difficult.
just, and he'll just take a
Yeah,
peek that.
and
would make no
obviously
sense.
a lot of it does come down to confidence and comfort, right? So if like MIBR does start playing well, that his players start playing well, he will also start playing well.
Yeah.
So
I think
that's
he
what
puts a
it
lot of
comes down to.
emotional stock on that himself. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the leader of the Brazilian scene or whatever. Like, he's known as the person
Yeah.
that's supposed to be responsible for that team success, that core success. So I feel like if that starts to come back, so will he. Especially as an AWPer, man. Like, you have so much pressure on yourself as an AWPer. Like, if you're AWPing and calling, like, you feel like your AWP style is going to change if your team is playing bad because you're going to think it's because of your strats.
I just can't believe that like this is a completely different topic, but I can't believe like someone like Cold was gonna actually like or thinking about leaving. Or I saw something about him leaving for FaZe or some shit.
Liquid, I think.
Liquid? I
Yeah.
don't remember what team it
The
was,
rumors
but
were Liquid.
yeah, and then Tarek joined, so I don't even know if that's ever gonna happen again. But like that would have been kind of
That's crazy. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
It's my Golden State shit, dude.
He probably wants to play with Taco again.
Yeah, him and
Yeah.
Taco are
Yeah.
boys.
Yeah.
Like way
Uh,
back.
I want to talk about the French scene quickly, like NBK, Apex, and like
yeah.
new G2. Like what's happening? How long do you think G2 works out?
Okay, so
Is NBK, Apex being brought
got a
back?
coin?
Like what's happening?
I feel
So-
like the French scene is just up and down. Always, it'll always be like always be a shuffle no matter what happens.
when this roster got announced, and you look at it, you can see this is stubbornness. This is like MBK or Apex or both of them being like, I'm not going to play with Existence. I refuse to play with Existence. I don't think he's good enough. Blah blah blah. Now they brought in Existence and they're playing with Smiths, like, who, with all due respect.
Wasn't it the other way around? Wasn't it Shocks not wanting to play with Apex and NBK?
Not as far as I know.
No.
I don't think so. I don't think.
I
It
think-
was
I thought it was
I think,
Shock-
I think MBK didn't. I think MBK refused to play.
Who
with
knows
Existence.
with them, man?
There's some
There's a
type
flow
of
chart.
drama.
Who knows?
Like,
There's
people
some
don't
chart.
like
Either
each
way,
other.
either way,
French
I think.
player flowchart.
I think so. What they did was they brought in Smiths. They got Body, who wasn't even originally supposed to be involved, as far as I know, and then they're playing with this lineup now, who on paper is fucking terrible. Besides Kenny S and Shocks, like besides Kenny S and Shocks, this lineup shouldn't be. Sorry, I shouldn't say terrible. Besides Kenny S and Shocks, this lineup shouldn't be a consistent top 10 team in the world. They'd be right around that 10th place, dropping out of it. Like, that's based on this lineup. That's where they should be. But now, because they've proven that this works even with this lineup, this opens the door to bring MBK and Apex back in now or even just one of them. Even if you just took out Smiths and brought in NBK right now, this lineup now becomes a top 5 contender overnight.
Wait, so we got the flowchart here. It says Shocks dislikes NBK personally.
Wait, there's actually a
Yeah.
flowchart. Did you just
Wait,
make this?
Shocks is
Oh crap.
It's a lot. So they're basically married. Shocks is
Shocks is uncomfortable with Apex, really aggressive playstyle. Apex says he's not bitter about the kick attempt. Okay, I don't even want to read. There's too much. Oh,
That's
there's
what I'm saying.
Mixwell. Where the
To be
fuck-
honest, no matter what happens, there will always be like, in my opinion, every roster, like I've said this a million times, every roster has an expiry date. For the French scene, it's just sooner always, because I feel like personal issues always get involved in it, and I feel.
I just want RPK on G2.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm
Uh,
saying. I agree.
Don't worry, dude,
RPK
it'll
is-
happen in a
I
couple
feel like
Ah, it'll happen
RPK is
eventually.
just like I feel like RPK is really underrated in
He
my
is.
opinion, but that's just
so
me.
good at Ivy, man. Put him back at Ivy, dude. That's the Ivy player.
I feel like you need like Apex or NBK though. Like I think it's ridiculous not to have at least Apex on your
Apex
team.
is.
Like
When I played against him
I
at
don't
E-League, I've never been killed faster in my life.
I don't, obviously I don't know personalities, so French people are gonna be like, oh, there's no way Apex would be on the team. But like, I just feel like the best French team has Apex on it, like no questions asked.
I agree.
But
Cool.
obviously, if people don't like each other, there's like something going on. You can't do much about it.
I don't know. I never see like the French scene being consistent enough as like a team, you know, because I feel like personal issues probably get in the way. And now I don't know any of these guys, so I don't know for sure what the problems are. But it's just kind of obvious to tell from the outside looking in, from like interviews and stuff like that, that some people clearly don't like each other. And on top of that, they have like they always have like these two teams. Like before it was Envious and G2, now it's just G2 and like those leftover people.
There's just so much history between all of
Yeah,
them. That's
but all
why
of
I
them
said they should
all
have
of them
brought.
have played with each other though. So that's the thing. It's like if they just let go of the pettiness for a little bit, whatever the problems are, they just let go of it and create a roster and start fresh. I feel like even if they do all of that stuff, it'll still go downhill because these problems will still arise later on if they have like a big loss
That's
or
why-
If you take that into account, what's the roster?
No, you gotta get Almanac and Devo Duvek. Like, how did those guys? How did Almanac not get on
that's
G2?
that's odd to me
I'm
too.
mind
Almanac
blown.
is
Like,
sick, bro.
like whenever I played
I don't know. I'm looking
Misfits,
at the flowchart
Almanac
here
was
and,
like the main guy that like owned us. I don't like Almanac in my opinion is like should be on G2 or like the best French team, whatever that is now.
That's an interesting point because a lot of people wouldn't think.
Because like Almanac, I don't think Almanac has history. I could be wrong. I don't think Almanac or Devo Duvek have history with them, so maybe that's like what brings stability. Like
I
you
don't
get
know.
three of the
all
old
of
guys
this,
that like each
what do
other.
you guys think about
and
Scream?
those two.
Because I feel
Okay.
like Scream is nuts. So like, if Scream would Scream be in your like top French lineup? I know he's not French, but he'd probably join a French team. So like, would he be on your top French
taking
lineup?
into account all
No.
like if they all dropped
Dude,
everything.
my top
No,
French
no,
lineup.
like,
My
if
top
you had
French
to pick
lineup
your
is
top 5 players.
it's literally Existence, Shocks, Kenny S, Apex, MBK. That is the best French lineup you can put together.
No RPK?
No,
Wow.
because you'd have to put RPK for MBK,
MPK. Yeah.
and no, sorry, just no.
I think
feel like at
Almanac's
this point you
better
gotta
than
try it,
some
man.
of those.
I feel like
Who
at
do
this
you
point
think
you gotta
Almanac's
try it.
better than?
What did you
I'm
say?
not,
Sorry,
I'm not
can you
gonna
repeat
say.
that?
I'm just saying I think
Existence,
Almanac's better than
Existence,
like,
Apex, MBK, Shocks, Kenny S.
Yeah.
Who do
Makes
you
sense.
think
some.
Almanac
Shocks,
replaces
Shocks
on
if
that
he
lineup?
gets it back to his form.
I think Shocks and Existence can be like
I think Almanac's a good
changed
dude.
out.
I don't know.
one of those could be.
He's
But
like
I
a
feel like the other
young
3 are fine.
player. Like
I think he's good too. I'm asking who do you replace on that team with Almanac?
I don't like probably NBK, but then like he's your support guy. I don't know. It's too hard to tell.
No.
It
I
depends.
agree with that lineup. I feel like Existence is needed no matter what because I feel like that leadership aspect
You gotta have
is needed
Existence
in
right now.
terms of just not letting shit get out of hand. You know,
Yep.
not letting like personal shit get in the way. If there's a big loss, he needs to be the one cooling everybody down. They also need a really good coach, in my opinion, that just like makes sure that everybody's fucking on the same page, not fighting all the time and shit. To keep that type of lineup together, you either have to have an Existence. Actually, that's the only player because I feel like with Happy, a lot of the time
need
the
Existence.
rosters just don't work out. And
You
like
need
Happy might be a
Existence.
great in-game leader, but he's I
I
feel like a
think-
lot of people have problems with him.
You need
I think it's
Existence.
all on Shocks in my opinion. Because Apex will play well, Kenyas will play well, Existence will lead, NBK is like a good like stable player.
He's like a glue guy.
If Shocks plays how he used to, then yeah, that's an insane
No,
lineup.
I agree. That's and then
But
the
I
lineup.
feel like that lineup's already happened before.
They
No,
all
it
have,
hasn't.
or like close
No, this
to.
lineup hasn't happened. That lineup hasn't happened before. You never had
It's
Existence,
close,
Kenny S,
though.
but you never had Existence, Kenny S, and Shocks in the same lineup.
Imagine Existence with Kenny S. Just like, oh, with Shocks opening that up. Damn, that team could be so
Like
good.
you've had Existence and Kenny S, you've had Existence and Shocks, you've had Existence,
You
Shocks,
need all three,
MBK.
though.
You haven't had Existence, Kenny S, and Shocks.
Yeah, you need that.
With MBK supporting them and Apex.
What do you mean
being
right now?
injured.
Isn't it Existence, Kenny S, and Shocks?
Yes, right now it is. Yeah, but I'm saying
Yeah.
like, but now you're missing MBK and Apex. Like I'm
Yeah.
saying the full lineup has never happened.
Right. No, I
Right
agree.
now you have
I agree with
Existence,
that
Kenny
lineup.
S,
I
and
think you do need.
Shocks.
I think
Smiths,
you need
right?
MBK
But you
and
have
Apex.
Smiths and Body
Smiths,
right now.
yeah.
It's just like,
Dude, it's such a shit show. I don't
Yeah.
even
So-
know what the best
it hurts my
lineup
head.
is.
well,
I just
on-
want to throw Almanac in there. I don't know.
Slap Almanac in that.
Throw
shit.
some young French player in there for the love of
What's good with
God.
that one
Give
kid?
someone a
Zaiwu.
chance.
What's good with him?
Oh yeah, that guy's better than all of them.
That's what I'm saying.
That
He's
guy's
the sick-
literally
he's literally
better
the
than all
sickest player I've
5 of
ever
those
seen.
players.
Dude, I think
Have you
one
ever seen that
time,
kid's
I think
frag
one
movie?
time I saw
He's
he
insane.
went like 78 and 19 in 2 maps on LAN or something.
Alright.
Maybe it was 3 maps. I don't remember. There was like some lineup. Go look up his stats. I swear to God, he was plus 60 in like a BO3 or something. It was fucking ridiculous. Because I remember we were all talking about it. Like, what the fuck? Like, it
Isn't
doesn't.
he, like,
It doesn't
cheap?
matter who you're playing against. No. He's turning 18 soon.
Well,
But,
point is
like-
he doesn't have the history.
Yeah,
with
yeah.
These guys.
But not even
Burn
that.
for
It's
it.
just like it doesn't matter who you're playing against at that point. You could be playing against almost anybody at the semi-pro level. If you go drop 80 kills in a BO3, like you are fragging.
I think they offered him though. I think
did.
every French team offered him, and he
Yeah.
turned it down.
He's not allowed till he's done.
From
school.
what I heard, but I think he is done school now though.
Yeah.
So it's like
They need
Yeah, I
to
what
mean-
pass on there.
happens? You like, fuck.
I
Even
feel
if
like
you
no
didn't
matter
speak
what, you need
English, get him
Apex.
over here.
No,
I mean-
seriously, it's worth it.
Drop
Apex
body,
guy's
drop
too
body
good.
Smiths, pick up Zywoo Apex. GG.
I feel like no matter what, you need Apex. I don't know.
I agree.
If
Apex,
Zywoo plays as well as he does, in whatever the hell he plays in right now, like
Dude,
that guy's better than Apex. That guy's better than every French player.
I think Zywoo
Every
would be.
French
I think Zywoo would be the replacement for Shocks.
breaking my balls, dude. Like,
It's so hard to.
It's because
hard to
you're a
re-
source player. That's why.
It's
the same thing.
impossible.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Shocks,
It's
man.
no. I listen. I feel you. Cause it'd be the same thing if you came to me and you're like, dude, listen, this guy's just got to replace Neo. I'd just be like, no.
The hard part with Shocks is like he's like a Forrest, you know, like Forrest will
Yeah.
never get cut. Shocks is like a never get cut type of guy in
I
my
feel like
opinion.
Shocks has got cut a bunch of times.
Okay, the French scene's a little different. But, like,
I agree.
you know what
yeah.
I mean, right?
No, I get what you're saying. Like, as in, he's always.
cut the
You just those types of players just could produce at any given moment some of the craziest wins for you, and like some of
Yeah.
the craziest tournament performances that you can't get rid of them.
It's like,
Like,
you
they
go
just-
with the risk, right? Like is
Yeah.
Zywoo the next Shocks in his prime, and do you get rid of Shocks? Or
I mean, I think if
you
Zywoo said, "Yeah,
don't-
I'll join," yeah, they do get rid of anyone.
I think so too. I think
Yeah.
so too.
Of
I
course,
think
like,
I think
they
he's
do.
worth it. I think it's worth it
Fuck
just to give him the
Zywoo,
shot.
dude.
I
gotta
think
get
they
the
do.
French
I
fans.
feel like even they would do it. They 100%.
Zywoo is like simple, but as far as we know, without the super toxic attitude, like as far as we know, like because when Simple was 16, 17, no one wanted to play on the team
Zywoo's
with him.
pure rifler too, right? Like he doesn't op at all,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I don't. Oh, I
Damn,
don't know.
That's
I don't know.
he
actually.
doesn't. That's impressive then. If he's just a pure rifler.
Check his HLTV stats right now. Check his weapon kills. I can't. If I open up my Google Chrome, it'll come up over top of everything. But somebody go check and go see what his weapon stats are.
Zywoo.
I think he might secondary, but I think he's
My
definitely
dog's
a
at a
rifler.
1.45 right now, homie.
No, it's
dog's-
honestly insane.
My dude's at a 1.45.
But he plays not good teams, right? There's no. way
He plays tier
one teams.
tier 3,
Oh,
tier
his
4
most
teams.
kills is with an op. By
So he
like
is an
20
opper.
kills.
Yeah,
He
so
has,
he's
he has
secondary.
1337 op kills.
Dude, I think he just plays at like the tier 3, tier 4 level, so it's just like, okay, I'm just gonna pick up an op this round and kill. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I don't think he's an opper though.
So
Well, his AK's right behind
he
him.
is like a he's a
He's a hybrid.
definition
he's
of a star
literally
player then.
no, he's
Yeah.
literally simple, but might be better in the
He's
future.
a motherfucker. Yeah, I think he will be. Dude, like you watch it, like how he gets his kills, it's just like dude.
The problem
literally,
is
he's playing the same
it's
game
hard
as
to
us.
say because Simple's got a 1 point, like he rocks like a 1.3 rating at like the best events against the best teams while winning them, or even while losing them.
Saying he'll
What
be
was that
better than
simple game on
simple
Inferno?
is.
What was that simple game on
No.
Inferno? You know what I'm talking about?
No,
Where
I'm
it's
saying
like-
he could be. Like if there's
Oh,
anybody who's going to be the next Simple, it's this kid.
Most likely. Or Oboe.
When he stops looking at chat, yeah.
What the?
He tried to get.
How's that
finesse.
feel these days, man? How's that feel? I wouldn't know. I'm not in that shit. How is it?
Terrible.
Actually, I haven't played in a couple days, but
It's terrible.
It's never bad. I don't
It's
know.
I
always
miss Money
bad.
10
Wow.
Mans, dude. I miss that shit. That shit got me better at the game.
The Steno
Uh,
10-mans?
No,
It's
the
never like
Shades
bad.
10
I feel like
mans.
it's like it's just sometimes people annoy me. So
I feel like it breeds poor CS in a way that Money 10 Mans didn't.
Yeah, no. In Money 10 Mans, if you played like an idiot, everybody got mad at
Yeah.
you,
Hated
and
you.
you
Lost
didn't
me
get
money
invited
on the
back.
spot.
And you
when-
didn't get
if
invited
you played
back.
bad,
Like,
or if you trolled, you created enemies for life.
Yeah, no,
No,
you
yeah,
did.
no,
You did.
People
Like,
still hate each other from that shit.
People wouldn't hate you. Like you could still play even if you played bad. Like,
That
people
shit
like people
caused
would invite
problems
Ocean.
that still are like long lasting
It's
to
so-
the
oh, yeah.
point where like Desi and still hate each other.
Yeah.
From
Well,
that shit.
Desi just won't fucking pay him. He owes him money. Like pay your fucking
But
debt.
how much does Desi owe Steel?
Probably like
I'm
10
on-
I don't
bucks.
remember.
It's probably
It was
like
like-
10
it was
bucks or
literally
20
$20.
bucks. Yeah.
It was literally $20.
But Josh is like the type of guy that holds grudges forever. Though, like
Yeah.
Isn't it because Steel
Not
just like
letting that go.
destroyed Desi on his stream though and shit? I feel
I
like
don't
there's
think
a
that's-
reason he didn't pay him or something.
when
It's like-
Josh doesn't like somebody, the problem with Josh is when he doesn't like somebody, he goes too hard,
it
like
goes for the
Yeah.
throat, man.
way too
It's
mean.
hard.
But then when someone else does it to him, I feel like he can't take it, and that's the problem I've always had with Josh. Is like if somebody does it to him, he'll always like, I don't know, he gets like hella like.
One of the best callers I ever played with, though, man. He's so fucking good.
Definitely really good at the game.
Yeah. Money 10 Mans, though, I'm telling you, it bred better CS. Like, it made talent better faster than FPL is. In fact, I think FPL is actually making talent worse.
Dude, where do you think Mosbeck would be right now if he continued playing?
I'll play with
I don't
Roll.
know.
I'm saying,
On
dude.
the fucking
Okay.
VAC banned list. He's one guy who I I will, without any concrete proof, I will say that guy was fucking cheating.
I played with
He was
Hitman
so
and
aware of
Mozbek. Mozbek was way better than Hitman.
Dude,
and
I
Hitman
remember-
got banned. That's
I don't think,
all
I
I'm
don't think Mozbek
saying.
cheated, dude.
Dude,
There
I
you go.
remember playing a
he-
scrim. Listen,
he
I remember
cheated,
playing a scrim with
100%.
Mozbek, and he would every single map he'd play the rotating spots. He wouldn't play an anchor. He would be like, I'm only playing this spot or I'm not playing. And this is what he would do. And he'd be there. I remember one time we're playing on Inferno. He's playing arch side. He's running to mid, throws a smoke at mid, turns around, runs back to B, and we're like, dude, where are you going? He's like, I just got a feeling this round. I just got a feeling.
It's a hard read.
Five
That's a hard
seconds
read.
later,
I love
5
that.
seconds later, B execute comes in, and you're just like, man.
Perfect.
And I'm telling you, like that. It's not like that just happened one time. It's like always here. He would do shit like that.
Like Davey,
constantly.
just because you haven't played with
That's
like
results
super
oriented,
aware
man.
players, man, like,
Listen,
you have to
I-
understand Mozbek was another level.
I
of-
would put
like,
my life savings if
the
there was
game
some way to right
misses
now.
Mozbek.
Listen, if
Yeah.
there was like a box right here, like obviously you can't see because my webcam's
No,
not working, and it was
I-
like
I-
open up the box and it's gonna tell you 100% it's God, and he's gonna be like, yes, Mozbek was cheating or Mozbek wasn't cheating.
I
I
have
would
the
put my life
shadiest
savings
example.
on him cheating.
Are
I
you
put
gonna
my
talk
life
about the
savings on
example
it.
where he like naded A main? That one.
Yeah, I'm just gonna say it for.
Or he's like
Tell me,
100
tell me.
times.
I want to know. I wanna know,
Okay,
I wanna
so
know.
I played
thought
with
he was cheating, man.
Mozbek. I played with Mozbek for like a season before we cut him for NAF or whatever. But like, we were T side cash, and we're like running to T mid, right? Like we called a different strat than what he's about to call. So like we're about to hit T mid, and then Mozbek's like, wait, let's triple nade entrance A main, because like they were on like a force buy, right? Lo and behold, they're doing like a triple pop flash A main. We triple nade A main entrance T side into their side, and we get 3 kills with a
That's
nade.
intuition, though. He knew
Yeah,
they were
hell
force
yeah,
five. They
thank
had to
you,
make a
Whitmer.
play.
But it
They
was
had to make a
like,
play.
Yeah.
Where are you
Oh.
gonna make a play at? A main.
Sometimes
Where
you
are
gotta throw 3 nades A main, man. Like,
That's what I'm saying.
Saw
Put
that
some
shit coming a
texture in
mile
your
away.
gameplay. Put some texture in your gameplay. We need Mozbek.
I feel like Mozbek was just a couple years ahead of everybody else.
I agree.
And everyone just
I
thought
feel
he
like
cheated.
Mozbek dropped 120 ADR on line and then 44
ADR on
ADR on LAN.
Yeah, but that's because he drank like shots before matches, right?
Yeah, I
heard-
would too if I was cheating online and then came
I
to
think-
a LAN
I
and
think
was
that's
like,
what he did.
"Fuck."
Okay.
Look at Exotic.
Wait, is that actually true though? Because that's what I heard. That he drank alcohol before a match
to calm
calm-
him down.
Dude, he had like a drink.
I've done
Like
that.
it's not
I've
like
done
he
that.
was.
He
It's not
wasn't,
like he
like,
went and got
chugging
wasted.
shit.
It's
No, no,
like
yeah,
he
yeah,
had a
like-
drink.
But he did it to like calm his nerves, right?
So, that's what he
People
said.
do that all the time. People take a shot before a
Yeah,
match.
to me that's not weird or bad or I don't care
Yeah.
about that. That doesn't bother me. It's the fact that he was blatantly cheating that bothers me.
Dude, he trusted his reads. He knew their money. They had the pop flash.
I would
they
trust
made.
my reads if I knew it was right too.
If you know it's right and it's right, then you're gonna know it's right
Like
next
I
time.
said, yeah, no, I would trust my reads if I was him and I was cheating too. I'd trust it.
Oh
If
my
he wasn't cheating, then it's a shame that he had anxiety on LAN.
No, if he
He
wasn't,
would have been one of the best NA players
I wonder what
to
he's
this
up to.
day.
if he wasn't cheating, I'll fucking cut my hands off.
Whoa, man.
I swear-
Okay,
Nah,
no,
we'll call
maybe
that,
one.
dude.
No, just do one hand. One
Nah,
hand.
cut like a
I'll
pinky
get them
off or
both.
something.
That's how I scrimmed with
You
that
know
kid.
he's cheating.
I
You knew he was
know. I was scrimming with him,
Uh.
and I'm telling you, I played with him. Everyone on the team, everyone that we were scrimming with, knew he was cheating. We stopped scrimming with him because we were worried we were gonna get banned for playing with him. I've never had someone who was that obvious before.
Obviously sick. Gives a fuck.
All right, Whitmer, make your best MDL lineup right now.
Fucking, I'm on that shit, 100%. Past that, so like with players that are in MDL.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so Brax. Me, Brax. I want Ryan on that shit. I want Freakazoid.
So
I
far,
want.
so swole.
Hey man. Okay, so but I was gonna get off Soul anyway because I think there's really sick players past that. I have to look at MDL real quick because I haven't actually played in a couple.
Oh
seasons.
yeah, Obo's not old enough, is he?
So there's
Nah.
like players like Food, right? Psalm 10s.
I wouldn't have any of them on it.
Me neither.
Oof.
The
The
I just don't think they're ready. I would have like a player like maybe
Cooper.
let's go
I
with my
like
boy, a Cooper. Well, that's
I fuck
Swole,
Cooper's
Cooper's
bro.
real
Fuck.
good.
Cooper is the one
sick.
player I would play fucking pro league with that guy.
Yeah,
He's so
Cooper's
good.
ready. Cooper's ready. So that's Swole Patrol. God damn it. And I like Floppy, dude. I think Floppy's good.
Oh yeah.
I like Floppy. And
What about Hayes though? I feel like Hayes has been like nuts since he joined Mythic.
dude, he looks good. Right?
Literally a god.
I would play with James too.
Hayes,
Hayes
nice
looking-
flom.
I would play with Hayes over Flom.
Okay.
Hayes is good.
He's the best player on that team by
Yeah.
far.
Current MDL, if I had to make one, I would do Brax, Cooper, Mitch. Shit, I don't really think I even fucking know anybody else in
That's
MDL.
what I'm saying. I like this kid.
Brax,
like, you
Cooper,
need,
Mitch. Fuck, do you even Freakazoid?
And you? So it has to be you.
I'm
Like,
not
you
in
have to be-
MDL, but
No, but you have to be the 5th player. Is what I'm saying. Like you
oh,
make
I
it.
have to be the 5th. Okay, yeah, then okay, yeah,
Yeah.
I'd be down with that 5. Then me, Mitch, Cooper, Brax, Freakazoid. Yeah, I'd play on that team.
that's a good team.
That is nice.
That's nice.
I get Cooper. I get Dirty Peak Pete because he's insane,
He's insane.
and Dignitas. And I'd get.
Yeah, Pete's out. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, Pete would be a good one too.
He would be a god to get.
Yeah,
So I get, Pete's taking me to Pro League. That's a fucking for sure.
it's a
After
Godsta.
that, whatever
It's a
happens,
Godsta.
happens.
The only reason I didn't pick Pete was because we both ult. You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I think you have to. Put
I'll
Cooper
get
too
Pete
though.
as my
Cooper's
op.
an opera too though.
yeah, but
but
Cooper's
Cooper,
rifle's
Cooper would be my
sick.
nice rifler, secondary op. That's cool.
Yep.
That's cool.
You know what? You're right. I guess,
guess you
if
can't-
Cooper's rifling,
I
I'd
guess
do
you
the same
have to
thing.
get Brax. You have to. Like, there's no way
Yeah.
you don't get Brax.
I would swap out Freak for PTR.
My
if Cooper's
4th
rifling.
player though. My 4th player, I don't know, man. Like, I would have to. I guess I would have to get Ryan, right, or Freakazoid, just because.
He's in
Cooper's-
form right now too.
Just because Cooper, right? Because
Dude,
like.
take
that's it,
Mitch,
get the
man.
brothers. Mitch?
Mitch
Dude,
is mad
I
good.
always, honestly, I hated that your team cut him. Like, I know you have your own I'm sure you have, like, your stories behind it, but, like, when Splice cut him, I was like, that's such a fucking shit move. And my main reason for that is pure skill based. I don't know the guy. I've never spoken to him. I've never had any type of interaction with him. I've never even played with him. I've just watched him play, and I couldn't believe that was the guy.
Everybody
Yo,
in
fuck
here,
all that.
everybody
Dave-
in here knows how I feel about Mitch. And
Right, no. I'm just saying, like,
I-
my point of view. I haven't even watched the kid. I've never talked to the kid, but just out of watching him play, I was like, dude, this kid's like actually not bad at all.
No, he's really
There's
good.
no reason to cut this.
And the other
guy.
thing is, he makes mad good decisions in like 1v2s and
He
1v1s.
plays and he plays.
And what impressed me wasn't even his online shit. It was like how he played on LAN. I liked the way he played on LAN. I was like,
Yep.
this guy's not bad at all.
No, he's really
Okay.
good.
Our Frag 11 lineup wins MDL this season, David.
Oh, of course it does.
That lineup
Are
was
you kidding me?
sick.
We would
That lineup
farm
was sick.
everybody.
Caboose, man, we forgot to put him in any of those, man.
No,
He's
see,
fucking
I
good.
wouldn't put Caboose in there, but I was telling them even before the show started that Caboose is really good.
Yeah, man.
I
And
wouldn't put him on that lineup.
he's
I don't
like
think he's a top 5
meters,
player
you know?
in MDL right now, but he's real good.
It's my last question, by the way. So, Daps, how does it feel to finally get invited to events?
Feels
You guys
great,
feel like-
dude.
Do you
Well
guys,
deserved.
was it like a long time coming? You feel, or
I mean, on Optic, we had a little stint where we got invited to do a few events, but like nothing like this. I've never
Wait.
been invited to events that are like 4 months
Wait a
down the
minute.
road.
I want to
type
get
thing.
back to this, but Daps, you got to make your MDL lineup now.
oh yeah,
I don't know.
You have to. You got to go look at the
Stay up there,
lineups if you
dog.
got
Don't
to
come
do.
down here, man. Stay up there, man.
Okay, Soul Patrol minus their worst player plus Oboe.
No, you're on the lineup. You have to build the team
You just
around
love
you.
this kid, man.
minus their worst.
Because
He can't play MDL. He
Oboe.
can't play MDL. He's too young.
Every time I watch FPL, Oboe is like by far the best up and comer.
I agree with that.
At
I-
least.
He is good.
Definitely true.
Like I think he will be the next like good player in NA, in my opinion.
Don't tell them that. Their egos get out of control.
Well,
I
no,
just
as,
can't believe
as
I
long
never
as his
heard of-
personality is good, then he'll like make it.
I can't believe I'd never heard of Cooper before this season. Like I'd never even heard of him.
You watch
I didn't even
MDL
know he
last
was a
season?
player.
Oh, dude, that was an event for
Was he?
Cooper.
Did he go off?
He snapped, bro.
No,
He
all I
snapped.
gotta say is like he's actually like I can't believe I'd never even
Wait,
I never
is
even knew
Marky
Freakazoid had a
on-
brother that played CS.
Mark-
Marky's on
Swole.
Swole Patrol.
Oh, he is? Okay. Well,
Yo,
then,
I'm giving a
it's
stack,
like
man. No
not
shade towards
bad.
Marky because I love him and he's fucking insane. But when I was on GX and we played against them, he was on what was that fucking team with Johnny Boy and shit?
Flamingo, Miami Flamingos.
Gale Force when we played him. It was Gale Force. Yeah,
Oh,
Miami. And
Same, yeah, same
didn't-
thing.
I didn't think Marky was the best player on that team.
Miami Flamingos.
That was their
Yeah.
team name, dude.
Was that the,
Imagine
that's
those.
not the-
jerseys.
was that with a Gush Horo or
Yeah.
Gush?
Yeah, I thought he
Okay.
was the best player on that team. I didn't
That
think
guy's nuts, dude.
Okay, my best MDL lineup. I need Mitch because I've played with Mitch before, so I like know he has good comms. He like has good ideas. He can double up if he wants to. Mitch is pretty underrated in my opinion.
he is.
So I pick Mitch. I take Marky because Marky like if his English has to be better now. So
It
like I know his skill is insane. So Marky, like I give Marky another chance. So I got Marky, Mitch, me. Cooper's the best opera in Premier, right?
Him or Pete? It depends.
I'll go
Cooper's
with
like,
I'll go with
identity
Cooper.
isn't like just like I'm the best opper, you know? Like I honestly think he's the best player in Premier.
But I've only heard good things about Cooper, so I'll go with Cooper.
Perfect
It's my
attitude.
opper. So I have Marky entry fragging. I have Mitch, kind of like I don't know what role he's gonna have yet. Maybe second. I'll
I will
probably
say
entry
that's
frag
the
with
only
Marky.
problem with Mitch, is that you never know what role.
Yeah, he's
gonna
kind
play
of
on the
like
team.
a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
Then I guess I
Jack-
have Brax as like my hard lurk, and then Mitch, Marky, and I are just like the pack, a three. Yeah, yes, that's fine.
That's a good team. I think all these teams are good.
Yeah.
Those are all good teams.
Some decent players in MDL, dude.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm telling you, man, you got to watch some of those VODs from the last MDL land. Specifically Cooper on Overpass, yo. Like,
Because-
oh my, it was like, oh my god, it made me want to play CS again. It was like, wow, this guy's really fucking good, and he has a
Alright.
perfect attitude.
Well, do you want to go back to Daps's team NRG before we close this out?
It's a move.
Finesse.
If you want.
What was the question? Oh yeah, the invites.
I don't know. No, ask me like questions about Shanghai. I don't want to go through like day by day. Just like if you want to ask about Shanghai, just ask like specific shit.
Well, I want
What-
to ask about ECS and at what, like, were you guys disappointed with how it went?
A little bit. I mean, obviously,
I heard
making
about
two finals in a row would be insane, but like, we didn't want to lose. Like, the placing was fine, but losing to Liquid that badly was kind of emo. But they played insane. Like,
Yeah.
none of us really showed up, and they all showed up.
Who did you play before you played Tyloo in finals?
Gambit.
Gambit, and you won that 2-0?
Yeah.
How was that series? Just like easy as hell?
Pretty much the same as the Tyloo one, if you look.
No, okay. Let me see.
Like,
oh, okay,
I-
I see here.
I don't think in the whole playoffs, I don't think we
No.
lost more than 10 rounds.
You guys looked mad comfortable at Shanghai. Like, it looked real easy for you guys.
It's weird because like I usually suck when it's hot, and it was like 40 degrees in that venue, no air conditioning. It barely in. There was a little bit of air conditioning, and it was super loud. It was like, it was an expo, right?
Yeah.
So there's like tons of booths. There's just like speakers blasting music everywhere. Like you could barely hear something sometimes. So it was actually like, I'm surprised we like were that comfortable in that environment. So that was like a good. I'm happy with our result just because like we handled the atmosphere properly. Cause like no one on my team's played in that environment before.
Yeah.
It was pretty hostile environment in terms of like all the noise and shit and
Good
the heat.
experience then.
Yeah. I just wish if we made the major, it would have been a perfect 2 months.
Yeah.
Literally the only two BO3s we lost in the last 2 months were the two minor losses.
Well, and
That's
Liquid,
kind of
right?
unfortunate. Well, that was more than 2 months ago.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, you're right.
Pretty
Yeah, it
sure.
was.
Yeah. That was a long time ago now.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's been a hour and a half. We'll close this out here. Sean, thanks for coming on last minute. I
It was
appreciate
fun, man.
And thanks
Thanks
for
for having
sitting
me.
It was
through
fun.
all the me trying to get my webcam fixed too until we just decided fuck
Hey,
it.
man, it's a
Let's
team
just roll
effort.
with
You
it.
win as a team, you lose as a team.
Yep. All right. So, Sean, thank you for coming on. Appreciate it. This
Cheers,
has been
guys.
episode 9 of Peaker's Advantage, and we actually have another episode that we're going to be recording tomorrow with another guest. So, stay tuned for that, guys. We'll be releasing that sometime in the middle of the week. So, thanks you guys for watching, and see you next time.